Hello, I will be doing the session five assignment. And so we're just gonna get started right away. And my mission and situation that I'm dealing with for this assignment is that I'm a 28 years old who's making $85,000 a year, and I'm tired of paying $2,200 per month in rent, and I found a condo that I loved. And here's the details for the property. The price of purchase is 425,000. The HOA fees are $350 per month, and then property taxes is $5,100 a year. Insurance is $1,200 a year. The current mortgage rates is at 6.8%, and it's 30-year fixed. And I have $95,000 saved for down payment and closing costs. The closing cost estimated, which is estimated at $12,000, and I am not moving in 5 years, but may after 5 years. And I am to put 20% down payment. And I'll just read this too. It's the alternative scenarios to consider. So my landlord offers to lock in my rent at 2,500 for 5 years if I renew the lease now, and similar condos in the building rent for 2,600 a month. Condo prices in my area have appreciated 4% annually over the past decade, and I could get a 6.5% for 30-year fixed mortgage if I pay 2 points. And what's the true monthly cost of owning versus renting? How much equity would you build in 5 years? How do you think or decide on buying versus renting? What is points and should you consider it? Okay, so that's a Gemini, and here's some data that I got. Let me move myself down here. And so given 5 year ownership that here that I have and provided financial details that I gave, buying the condo is more financially sound decision. The total net cost of owning is significantly less than the cost of renting, even when accounting for all fees, internet, and closing costs. So here's the gonna be the cost, like how it would cost if I was to own it versus how it would it would be if I was to just rent it. So if I was to own the property, I would have to calculate the loan amount, and with 20% down payment on a 425,000 dollars condo, I'll be putting down $85,000, and I'll be leaving a loan of 340,000, using a 30-year fixed rate of 6.8%. My monthly principal and interest payment would approximately be 2,229 and 41 cents. And the total monthly ownership costs, which includes the mortgage plus other mandatory fees that I have to pay, would be 2,229.41 for mortgage, the HOA for $300.50. Oh, I'm sorry, $350. Property taxes for 5,100, and I would have to divide that by 12 months because that would be like because there's 12 months in a year. But that would equal $425. My insurance would be 1,200, and I'll divide that by 12, which would give me $100. And so if I do the math for all those and add it all up, the total monthly ownership cost would be 3,104.41 cents. That's for the ownership or owning the property. But if I was to rent the property, the monthly rent the landlord has offered to lock in a rent of 2,500 for a month for the next 5 years. And for the monthly total cost, it's basically the full cost. The landlord covers taxes, insurance, and the other fees. So if I was to compare those two in conclusion for those two scenarios, renting would be cheaper by about 604.41, and you would get that by subtracting the $3,000, 104.41 for owning, subtracted by the 2,500, which would be for renting. Um, but this is just a small part of the story. The total cost of ownership needs to be looked at over the full 5 year period, and it includes the initial costs and future gains as well. And another thing is, if I building equity over 5 years, building equity is a key financial benefit of homeownership. And there's two ways I can build equity: by paying down the loan principal and home appreciation. So the equity from loan pay down over the next over the first 5 years of a 30-year mortgage at 6.8%, a substantial portion of my payments goes towards interest. And I'll still pay down the principal, and after 60 monthly payments, my remaining loan balance would be approximately 318,342.34. And that would mean that I've paid down $21,000, $657.66 of the principal, and that would be subtracted by 340,000 by the loan balance that would remain, which would be the 318,342.34. So here's the equity from appreciation, total equity at 5 years. If I go down here, the cost of renting for 5 years is 2,500 a month times 60 months, which would be 150,000. The cost of owning with the initial cost of the down payment, the closing cost of subtotal, and the other costs, the subtotal would be 186,264.60. So the total outflow for this would be 283,264.60. And in conclusion, basically, the over the 5 years, the net cost of owning is $115,693.56, while the cost of renting is $150,000. And buying it saves me about 34,306.44. And the money that I put into the condo is not lost, it's an investment in an appreciating asset. And here's the so if I go back here, so yeah, in conclusion for this statement, it's essentially better to buy the buy the spot rather than renting it, because it saves me more money in the long term, and I'm gonna be better off buying it than renting it, because renting I'm not guaranteed it either. So it's like I would have to keep paying the money, while if I own it, I can just pay it like little by little. And the code that I put in got me this. So it's the price of the home, the down payment, as the periods, the months, the rents, all of that. Here's for the mortgage payment, the monthly cost of owning, the rent cost over 5 years, the appreciation in equity, the remaining mortgage at 5 years, all that good stuff. And so couple points that I also want to go back on is that, yeah, well, the mortgage points. So what are the mortgage points, and should I pay them? What are points? Um, to to decide this question, I'll need to calculate the break-even point, which means how long it will take for monthly savings from the lower rate to offset the upfront cost of the points. Without the points, it would be 6.8% interest rate monthly, with a monthly payment of 2,229.41. With the points, it would be 6.5% interest rate, and the monthly payment would be 2,552.02. And the monthly savings from those two, if I subtract them, would be $77.39. Excuse me. If I do the break-even calculation after that, it would be the 6,800 divided by the $77.39, which would give you about 87.87 months, or approximately 7.3 years. And since I'm only planning to stay there for 5 years, I will not reach the break-even point. And if I was just to pay the points in that scenario, it just cost me extra money, which of about 6,800, but I will save $4,643.40 in interest. So it's for the points situation, it wouldn't be a financially wise decision to pay the points.